Strategy of the month, September 2025, the best systematic trading strategy for the copper futures market that you have ever seen. Let's start by looking at the system's long-term performance. So if we jump into the TradeStation trading platform and we bring up a strategy performance report, the first thing we'll see is a beautiful upward sloping equity line. This represents the cumulative profits from trading one contract of copper futures since 2010. This equity curve shows us that the system has had pretty consistent performance with very few drawdowns since way back in 2010. If we look at a performance summary with some performance statistics, we can see a total net profit of about $330,000 per contract, profit factor of 2.25, pretty evenly split between long trades and selling short trades. And if we scroll down slowly here to drawdown statistics, we can see a intraday peak to valley, so a total experience drawdown of about $27,000, trade close to trade close, $22,000. Both of these seem pretty reasonable given that long-term performance. Again, you're making about $330,000 per single contract of copper traded since 2010. And if we look at our long-term returns, we can see strategy annual returns of about $17,900 per contract on average. This strategy has had positive profits in 13 of the past 15 full calendar years. It's off to a fantastic start thanks to all the tariff volatility that we've had in 2025. That represents an average annual return of 25% return on 2.5 times margin. Margin is about $12,000 for a contract of copper. Copper is a pretty large contract. It is the fifth largest commodity contract. Gold, silver, feeder cattle, Arabica coffee are all larger, but in terms of notional value, every contract of copper you're trading today is worth about $113,000. Now, that requires margin of about $12,000. The good news is that there is a micro copper contract as well that is a tenth the size. So a notional value of about $11,000 that requires margin of just $1,200 to trade. So if you are new to systematic trading, if you have a smaller account size, choosing a micro copper contract might be a good option for you. Now, if we look at how this strategy trades on a chart, we can pretty quickly get a sense for how this strategy works. This is a mean reversion strategy for the copper futures market. This is a chart with copper 1440 minute bars, so effectively daily bars. And what we can see here is that this strategy is getting short when momentum is turning and taking advantage of the multi-day or multi-week downtrends in the copper market after momentum turns lower. And conversely, the system is buying when the copper market is recovering. So it's buying at oversold levels, it's selling short at overbought levels, and it's doing that again and again through time. Now, importantly, this strategy most recently caught some of the big downdrafts that we've seen in the copper market in 2025, especially these recent downdrafts that we've seen with all the tariff volatility, all the Trump tariff announcements that we've seen this year. It caught a really nice trade here back in late July. The system has a short position today after buying the dip just a few sessions ago. But overall, we see a lot of teal lines here. These teal lines are positive profit trades. The red lines are negative profit trades. And we see a lot of teal lines, which enforces the fact that this strategy has had really good long-term performance. We can see that most recent trade here, that big selling short trade that pushed us to new equity curve highs in just the most recent month. Now let's jump into the fun stuff. Let's look at the full EasyLanguage code behind this mean reversion strategy for the copper futures market. There it is. That is the full system code logic behind this copper trading strategy. I have done my best to add a few comments here in green around how this strategy works, the entries, the exits, a strategy summary. But I also want to demonstrate that if you have code in front of you, you're not quite sure how it works, you're overwhelmed by all these different lines of code, we can always open up a simple large language model like ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or Grok, and we can paste in a very simple prompt saying, hey chat, can you explain this EasyLanguage strategy to me in very simple terms? So let's paste in our strategy code, send it to chat, see what it comes back with. This is a mean reversion strategies that enters trades when price diverges from a custom midpoint and stochastic momentum turns, with exits based on time, a stop loss, a profit target, and a trailing stop. So in one sentence, ChatGPT is summarizing for us that, again, this is a mean reversion strategy for the copper market. There are a few filters here in front of the entries. There's 4 different exits, but like we saw in the chart where the strategy was buying oversold conditions, selling short at overbought conditions, this is a mean reversion strategy for the copper market. And most importantly, we know from long-term performance, this is a very good mean reversion strategy for the copper futures market. So that is it. That is our strategy of the month for September 2025, our 47th consecutive strategy of the month video, a fantastic mean reversion strategy for the copper futures market. There are 3 things to remember here. Number 1, you can always trade a micro contract on copper instead of that larger 113,000 notional contract. You can trade a smaller $13,000 notional contract with much smaller margin requirements. Number 2, you can always use an LLM like ChatGPT or Claude to translate and interpret EasyLanguage strategies for you, to explain simply how they work. We use ChatGPT to explain this somewhat complicated mean reversion strategy to us. And number 3, if you want the filters that we used to build this strategy, you can find them at peakalgo.com. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think about this system? Do you have a better trading system for the copper market? Is there any other channel on YouTube that shares with you real, fully coded, systematic trading strategies month after month? Let me know in the comments below. Have a great end to your summer. Good luck trading copper, and we'll see you soon.